Hey everybody, happy Friday. Nice to have you back here with us for our swing trade class. My name is Mike Fairbourn. Folks, looking today at really talking about, excuse me, I said swing trade class. This is trading futures, but I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. This is a trading futures, I'm sorry, it's not, ThinkScript class. I said, these are all the classes I teach. What can I say? Today is the ThinkScript class, but we're going to be taking a look specifically at swing trading setups just enabled at your fingertips. Sorry, folks, I went through the entire week here to get to Friday. We finally got to Friday, and it does feel like a Friday. I hope you're having a good day, and happy Friday, like I said. But joining the chat, my good friend Brent Moores, folks. And today, did want to take a look, as I said, I want to take a look at some of the potential bullish swing trade setups out there that are going to be combining really a couple of different indicators here. I want to look at, on one side, the possibility of certain patterns that are unfolding in the direction of the trend, much like a bull flag pattern, but also looking at strength of trend too. Found something pretty interesting coming out of those two when you combine a couple of different ThinkScripts to get that all working together. But it is great to have you back here. And yeah, let's see, Bob. Good to have Bob here. Bob from Michigan. Lola, Rojo, David, AJ, Will. Welcome, everybody. Many others. Hello to you, Robert Boucher. We've got Life of the Fast Lane and Michael. Folks, any questions, comments you have, those in the chat. Do want to extend out a thanks, though, to Mr. Brent Morris for filling in last week and teaching really a great class on moving average crossovers. If you haven't had a chance to take a look at that, that is in there posted right now. So love to have you take a look at that. But thank you so much, Brent, for helping out. By the way, quick note, be sure to follow Brent and I on X if you're not already. He's posted in there our X handles, Mike Fairbourn CS and Brent Moore's CS. So with that, let's turn it over to some quick disclosures to get the show on the road here. Now, options do carry a high level of risk, are not suitable for all investors. Information here is for general information purposes only. It should not be considered an individualized recommendation or endorsement of any particular security chart pattern or investment strategy. Now, Schwab does not recommend the use of technical analysis as a sole means of investment research. We tap into both a little bit here. Mostly what we look at are technicals, of course, but paper money software application is for educational purposes only. Backtesting results presented are hypothetical and no guarantee that the same strategy implemented today would produce similar results. Investing does involve risk, including loss of principal. And finally, past performance of any security strategy does not guarantee future results or success. Wanted to note over here too, just steps to think scripting that we do like to address and discuss as we get started within our discussion here. It's always nice to recap this, and it's always good for everybody who is new attending our class, what the heck is going on here? Because we are using ThinkScript code to help us accomplish something that we're looking to get normally, just on the charts, some sort of strength of trend, up or down, things along those lines. So just kind of some steps to outline real quick before we get going. That is identifying the goal. Now, I am teaching a new class this year. Can say that this year in 2025. It is a swing trading class on Tuesdays. And that class got me thinking about some of the potential swing trade setups that we've seen previously within ThinkScript that other coaches have looked at. There was a couple things missing, I thought, for a bullish type swing trade. That kind of a scenario. And just to recap, as I identified the goal, I'm just kind of walking you guys through that mental process here. Looking at a swing trade, I'm looking at a trend, a bullish swing trade specifically. Those bullish trades are generally 3 to 10 days is what we're looking for. But I'm looking for a pullback in the counter to the direction of the trend, okay? But clearly indications of trend strength, not just a simple move up and a move down, because a lot of times what you'll see, at least on some of the prior coding that I've seen out there, are prices have been coming down, and then something like this looks like a possible bull flag pattern, but the reality is well, the trend's working against us, right? Prices are going down, and you don't want to have the trend working against you, because then oftentimes the probabilities may in fact just unfold in the direction of the underlying trend, and that would be, let's use a color, distinguish that. That could be to the downside. And so we're looking at further developments. And actually, I wanted to combine a couple of different scripts today. One was looking at ensuring that prices could break above a prior high here, just like I've drawn in this diagram, right? This kind of like illustration here on a chart, like right here, a break above those highs. Okay, you get a break above those highs, and then you get the pullback, because then what can happen is you might be nearing a level of support right there. And so it's a combination, it's a combo blend really of a pullback, but also breaking prior highs so we can lock in. We've got to lock in that trend, because that's what we're really looking for on those swing trades. And so I look to really kind of combine a lot of the concepts in that swing trade class to what we're seeing here, in this class in terms of ThinkScript, because there's just a lot you can do within a 3 to 10 day window trying to get momentum on our side. So I wanted to give you that kind of thought process, because I think it's important, because anytime you do have a thought process, you've got to kind of piece things together and figure out how things might work, and can they work? And that's the next question. Can ThinkScripting meet that goal? Well, the good news is we have an indicator that helps us kind of understand when prices are breaking above highs. And so I use that specifically. I incorporated that into the ThinkScript. And then also there was an existing flag, kind of a flag script that was sitting out there. And so I took concepts of that and tied it into this indicator and came up with a different script altogether, just created kind of a new one. Well, it is a new one. I haven't seen it out there, but I want to talk about outlining that script, applying those ThinkScript tools, and then we'll just write the custom script. I'll show you what it's already written, but that's the process you have to go through, and then test what is related to the goal. I believe it did pass that. We'll give it a plus and a check because it did kind of, spit out some of those symbols actually that we can look at. And I went back and just back tested it and made sure just visually, okay, did it hit that? Did it break this high? Did it have kind of a bit of a flag pullback? Is it in the direction of the trend? And so that's where the check mark's coming in. We will share that so that each of you can utilize that going forward. Okay, well, let's pull this up right now and just take a look at the markets. Here is a look at the S&P 500 index. And, I was talking about the S&P 500 index. And by the way, it is breaking down a little bit, but it's kind of in a sideways channel. I would say, it's still kind of holding a bit of a longer term support. I'm not going to spend too much time on charts here, but just generally speaking, where do the markets stand relative to what you want to be doing on ThinkScript as well? Right now we've broken highs. These were all-time highs. So highs up here, right? We got highs and we are pulling back a little bit. And there's a moderately lower kind of a low that's developed in here. It's still kind of holding near a key, what was resistance. It could be now support. We're looking to see if that's the case. One quick thing I'll do to help determine this as well is just kind of take a look at, if we were to look at, say, for example, we could go ahead and we could say something like, just to quickly reference it only. I'm just going to look over here and just say something like an ES, the S&P E-mini. And I just wanted to show you that because it has volume associated with it. And what I wanted to do was type in here, just go like something like the volume profile. Volume P should pull it up here for us. And a quick note on this, let me just change this down here to about 10% of the value area, where the 10% greatest amount of volume has come in over the time frame we're looking at, which is actually 6 months. A quick note on this that I wanted to point out is that to be aware of too, just something I discovered and discussed in a class earlier this week, and that is we do have a little bit of a gap here, a pretty noticeable gap in volume, and that doesn't really kind of pick up until you get to about this level. And so there could be a little bit of how can we call it, an air pocket, so to speak. And it might drop fairly quickly if that's the case through here. And you'll see that even like on different ETFs, if you look at those for the market or whatever the case might be. But notice down here, there could be some support down here and further down as well. But just to keep that in mind, just taking advantage of a drawing tool that we have right here. One of those beautiful drawing tools right on the thinkorswim desktop platform. All right. So let's talk about it. I want to talk about maybe the first core portion of our discussion, and I'm going to just go back to the S&P 500 index or even the NASDAQ. We could do either one. There you go. Very, very similar chart. I'll go full screen over here to highlight some details here for you. We did break below this upward sloping trend line. We might be testing a little bit lower. We'll see what that looks like going forward. But in terms of possibility of a bounce. But folks, the key point here is, and you can see even in these moving average crossovers here, you've got this breakup higher, and we had continuously made higher highs and higher lows. Now, anytime we're really looking at a chart, I think a lot of traders are very interested in, yeah, that initial trend. And how do you define that trend on a chart itself? You know, a higher high, a higher low. A lot of times what we're looking at is there could have been a higher high over here and prices have been coming down, right? And so really, you know, this was not a new high. This was a lower high, technically. This is a lower low. Excuse me. It is not a lower low. It is a higher low from here. And then where do we get the higher high? We get the higher high right over here as soon as we break. And so at this level, I mean, it is breaking higher. Now, that high is continually going, but we might be able to say over here, this is a higher high from the prior high. And what we're really focused in on here is this level here. Okay, because the reason why is we've got the trend on our side. In this case, we've got the higher high and the higher low, and a lot of traders would look for the probability of the trend. And getting that trend, there are a couple of different things to look at. You could say a break above the 30-period moving average. The problem with that is a lot of times you get the 30-day moving average break right over here. So if this is, let's say, for example, a 30 DMA, daily moving average, we're talking about the daily chart here, you might get the break over here. You might be waiting a little while because this is a pullback, but like I'd shown previously in one of our prior scripts that we had for looking at flag patterns specifically, it didn't really account for this all-important higher high. Okay? In other words, the trend. And you'll notice over here that I've kind of drawn, this could be construed right here as not a bull flag, but a bear flag, because the downward trend is still in place. So the possibility of bearishness might be even higher on this pullback and clearly not as high on this pullback for traders that are looking to keep the trend on their side. So there is a tool that we can use to help us. I should say an indicator to help us with this. And a lot of times when you're using thinkScript, that's what can be so helpful. It is referred to as the PC, also known as the price channel. And what that price channel does, I'm going to illustrate it right now for you on the chart. Let's take this off and we'll put a chart on. And in fact, we can use this right here. Let's use the NASDAQ. Or, well, you know what? Let's go ahead and let's use a stock. And I'm going to go ahead and just take a look at Apple here. Here's our Apple. And if I wanted to show you, I'm going to click over here on my little dropper icon. I'm going to pull up. Let's take these off for now. Great. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take a look at price channel. Now, many of you have already heard of this before because many of you are very strong in the technical side. In fact, you're technical experts. The Donchian channel is the same thing, but if you come over here and you type in Donchian, you're not going to get anything. You will get the same thing with the price channel. The price channel does this. If I open it up, I can highlight a few different details for you. So first of all, it says a length of time, and I'm going to say something like a 30-day high range. Let's bump this up so we can see it better. I'm going to flip this to blue. We're not using that. We'll go to 4, and let me just kind of highlight this first as we explain what's going on here. Now, I've got an upper and a lower. I didn't want to do exactly that, so I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to knock out this one. And I'm just going to look at the upper channel. We can certainly look at the lower for breakdowns. No problem. It's right there at our fingertips. But look what this channel does. And now you can kind of get a sense of how we can use this for a ThinkScript. Okay? Take a look at it. Look what's going on here. Do you see how what it's doing is every time it'll draw a flat line in here, and then that flat line, as soon as that's a 30-day high. And as soon as you break that, bam, right there, you've made a 30-day new high. Did you do it again over here? You've got it again and again and again. In fact, as you're going like this, yeah, I mean, you're still making 30-day new highs over the time frame that we're looking at, or at least, looking back over that stretch. And this will go back as far as 30 days. Now, it can still give you a new high. This doesn't have to be 30 days here, but it will go as far as 30 days. Case in point. Look at this right here. This really explains the indicator because I want you to really understand what's going on so that when we share the script, you've got it down. So take a look at this. This area right here, this was 30 days back. So this will count. This high here, it's a high. And now it just goes back. Okay, it was a high 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way over here to 30 days. Once we've exceeded 30 days, what does it do? It drops back down to the last 30-day level, which was right there. So now it's going to signal a price channel breakout, folks, but only until we break above that level, because there was a little blue line drawn in there. In fact, I'm going to highlight it right now. Let's do it again, right in there. So there's your line, and we took it out. And when you take it out, because you did take it out during intraday, bam, prices went up. And now you've got, again, another 30-day. Any questions on that? So I'm really taking some additional time to explain the indicator, because I think you got to explain the indicator. You got to really know what's going on there. Yeah. Uh-oh, we got a little bit of a lag going on. There might be. Hey, welcome everybody. Just joining us. My producers did mention to me before we got started that there was a little bit of a lag that they saw across YouTube. We've been experiencing the last couple of days, so I'll try to be as deliberate as I can using the little pencil here, but let me know if you have any questions on that. But I'm using this and basically to tie in a breakout, and I'm using what's in the indicator and plugging that into the thinkScript. Okay, so that's one aspect of it. Now, the other aspect is a simple pullback, and that is counting days back. Now, you may have seen over here, we've seen previously, we did have, oh, I don't have it pulled up here. I thought I did. We had a flag pattern, or flags that we had. Anyways, we had a flag that I've discussed previously, and the flag itself, column, we'll just say if there is a flag. But the issue is sometimes it can be bullish, it can be bearish. And even though it says it's bullish, it doesn't always have that bullishness. So what we're looking at is something a little bit different. In fact, I'm going to show you this over here. I got kind of excited about it because I did run the script, and this is like one of the first ones that came up. Now, I like to run these off broader ranges, but you're going to start to see some of the patterns like this showing up a little bit. This is one that came up that would meet that criteria, okay, is it's breaking over a range. And I've been using this, in this concept throughout the week, and I've had like 2 weeks to prepare for this class. So I've had a chance to look at it. But in other words, do you see a breakout above a high? As I was running this back over, I could have run it a while back. This was a high. There was a high here. I'm looking back at counting back those 30 days. And then I'm looking at a pullback here. Okay. Do you see any other patterns that might come up on a stock like this? I know the market's in a kind of a bullish to neutral condition, but do you see anything else from a pattern perspective that a script like this could help us with? I'll give you a hint. This is referred to as a rounded bottom down here, or a saucer bottom. I've heard of that. And where prices, as they're coming down, they're just kind of slowly coming down and then just barely starting to inch higher. It's a part of a bigger potential pattern here. The other side is a flag pattern. But if you combine that all together, you're going to get exactly what Christian just said, which is a cup and handle. So you get the pullback over here. It's kind of like three parts. You get a downward move, get the saucer bottom, you get the bull flag, and then on top of that, you get the cup and handle. Do you see the cup and handle? It's a broken cup off the bottom. I realize that. It's pieced together by a few different patterns, but you can see it. And this price pattern, you generally will take the high. Let me see if I can cap out the low here. It's about right in here somewhere. But as soon as you're able to take out the trend line, which is, I didn't quite hit it, did I? This is all freehand. Hope that lag's not too bad. But as soon as you take this out, now, according to what traders will look for on a cup and handle, is they'll take this range in price and they'll add it up here. And lo and behold, that kind of puts us, and it oftentimes does on these cup and handles, back to the prior high. But you can see that's a little bit of a range in there that traders might be interested in. Well, the script I've developed today helps us with that because it's got one key aspect, and that is the price channel break in there. Okay, and so it can be helpful. It's going to be great because you guys are going to be able to add to this too. It's a simplified script. Let's pull it up right now, and I've done it not as a scan, although we could do it as a scan, but I've done it as a market watch column, a custom column here. So let's go ahead and just customize it. We'll add one in, and it's just the bullish swing for swing trading. It cuts down a lot of what you'd normally see, though, on some of those flag patterns, but here you go. And it also gives you a sense of what's been moving during the week as well. Now, just to explain this, and Ken had built, some great points here in terms of how far back that flag pattern's been extending. That's 3 days, 3 days, 3 days. It'll go up to like 5 days here, and that's 2 days on down the line. But it does have, and this is the way I've set this up. Oop, I did one thing different. Okay, let me do this. The way I did it, well, actually, I've set it up so that it's the length of time. In fact, let's just pull up the script. This is the portion I added in here. And I didn't get this. It didn't work out the first time right away, okay? But it did after I had used the price channel. I had my own little unique way of figuring it out. But for me, it was easier just to write this. Now, if you guys could find a way, to shorten that, I'd love to hear it, or what you might be looking at. But I've simply just gone in here and stated as an initial case, before we have those pullbacks, the pullback in price, the price channel has to be set. I'm looking at a length of 30 that I showed you visually on the chart. And then I also said, make sure, we've got a length. So the 30-day period, but then the price is crossed above that upper band within the last 30 days as well. Okay, so the 30-day time frame. So it's a 30 length, but then the 30-day time frame right there. So, in other words, coming back to what we looked at here, you're going to get it here. You're going to get it in stocks like this. This came up. Okay, not as pretty as the other one, but still the possibility of a little bit of a, well, it's kind of funny because there are a few cup and handles that you'll notice. I don't want to call it a cup and handle sort of an indicator, but because it is kind of a bull swing, but it's definitely sort of the bullish swing trade. Again, that bullish swing trade, folks, is just looking for the possibility of the pull of a flag here, the pullback, and then let's adjust our y-axis here. Boy, it didn't do, okay, we got to clear that off. We'll do this again real quick, but it's just looking at this right here. Let's say this move, and that 3 to 10 day follow-through move is over here, question mark. That's what it's looking for in the direction of the trend. A lot of these, though, I did notice they did have positive earnings. Little side note there. They beat earnings expectations, and a lot of times traders like that because that can give a little bit of a sort of a boost behind the scenes. I don't want to say boost, but it could increase the value. The value of the company might be increasing. That's what I'm trying to say. All right, my mind's stuck in technicals. What can I say? There we go. All right, so will that flag pattern start to bounce over there? There's a big number around 200, but that's what we're looking at. This one came up on the list as well. There are some others. Now, as you notice over here, let's pull this up. And let's just get into it right now. And there's a swing. In fact, I'll just share it right now so you have it. The one thing I don't like to do is forget to share it until later. And then I get a lot of comments coming through. So I'm going to just go ahead and stop that from happening. There you go. There it is right there. So a quick note on our thinkScripts. They're not guaranteed for timeliness or accuracy because they're reliant on the data that's coming to the platform. Now, as long as the data that's coming to the platform is reliable, then, in terms of what the script is doing, should also function. So I'm just letting you know that, though. Okay. Oh, Brent's already got me covered. Thank you, Brent. All right, well, let's take a look at a couple of these and see what we've got. In fact, I'm going to throw on those price channels as well. But the beautiful thing is, I don't know, this is it's nice to me because I like to see, I like to set up thinkScripts that are using indicators. It's real easy for thinkScript to understand an indicator because it's just defined. And it helps me a lot because I don't tend to screw it up very often. I mean, in terms of that portion, it's just a lot less code writing if I could throw in an indicator to kind of help me along the way. I had seen some other approaches and they just didn't work. And the ones I were using, I couldn't really get it to work consistently. Let's look at some of these right now, though. What do you see? Are there any themes over here? It's a good way to actually kind of spot where some of the trends are. Well, consumer uh, communication services. Sorry, that would be Google. You've got a lot of in here uh, semiconductors, right? Let's pull them up right now. MRVL, and then I'm going to take a look at the 500 as well. There you go. Okay, so the possibility of a pullback here, but certainly in the direction of the upward trend. Let's hit some of those other ones. I'm gonna try to remember this as I go through it. Okay, so we got a few of these Google Cloud. Okay, AVGO, and there you go. Is this part of a bigger cup and handle? I don't know. I'm gonna pull this over. Well, let's just flip in a weekly, and I'll bounce it back and forth. No, I would say the cup and handle. Ooh, there's a good example of a cup and handle long term right there. See the cup handle? Big follow through. That's what traders might be looking for. It's all in hindsight here, but at least you can see what kind of some of the criteria traders might be looking for in a setup. That was a huge move, but we might have another possible jump up here again. Again, earnings could play a key role there. Earnings the culprit. Look at that gap. Could be support at that gap, but be watching this for the possibility of a bounce. I mean, I'm going to be utilizing this a lot for my swing trading class, just because it's right. It fits what the goal, that I was after. And I kind of build it in that fashion. Okay. Perfect example on the downside, but still giving us our criteria. Look at this down here. See the breakdown? You're coming down, you're coming down, you're coming down. Cup and handle, perhaps? I don't know, but I will say that was a higher high and a higher low right there. You've jumped up again. So the trend, folks, it was down through here. Kind of wrote that pretty sloppy, but there you go. The trend is down. But what do we have at right from the get-go starting over here? We've got possibly the beginnings of an upward trend. And that's the question. But at least it lets you follow it. And so, by the way, some traders might want to wait, since you're looking for a swing trade time frame, right? 3 to 10 days, you might want to wait. You might be into earnings before that happens. Oh, let's see. You might have missed that, Thea. Does anybody, on that price channel? So, let me hit that again. It'll be in the earlier part of our discussion too, but absolutely, let's just do it. Let's just hit it again so you guys are clear on that. Now, what I want to do, I'm going to keep it on here so we can reference back to it. I'm not going to use the lower band, just the upper. And what we're simply doing is we're tying it. This is how it actually works. So visually, it works by looking back at, up to 30 days. That's the key word, up to 30 days. This is a great case in point. How did it pull it up? Because the script is referencing exactly the price channel indicator 30 length over at least the last 30 days. That is how I've chosen in this class to define an upward trend. We had to have had a break using, there it is. Oh, that's a 20, sorry. Dang it. The script is 30, but it will still show it. Let's just flip that real quick. That's the default, by the way. The length is a 30, but the script looks back for 30 days. Okay, there's a 30-day length. So in other words, it's broken it over some period of time. And the reason why I did that is because if you're pulling back over here, sometimes you might have a longer consolidation. That's going to be able to tackle those longer term consolidations. Did you notice that when we saw in snow? Snowflake was the company. It went up here, right? And we had this big run up here. But this pullback was quite big. But guess what it did? It enabled us to say, well, yeah, it might have had a 5-day pullback here. There's some sort of a flag pattern, but at least it happened. We broke above a prior 30-day high range over the last 30 days. Okay, so it kind of opens things up a little bit more for maybe some of those extended trends to come down too. Hopefully that's it. But yeah, I love the point. I'm glad you brought that up because you really need to be familiar with the indicator, Thea. Excellent. All right. Let's see. All right, so what I'm selling positions, that means someone is buying. For every seller, there's a buyer. There's a set amount in the float of shares that can be traded. Let me ask you this question. Every time you buy, who sells? I probably shouldn't get into that right now, but there are others besides just market participants, right? Um, that are out there. Uh, I've got to be careful. I want to make sure I stick to my topic here, and we get this posted and everything. But yeah, it's a great question. I haven't answered, but yeah, we'll have to move on just for the sake of keeping this intact. Thank you, 90s. All right. What was the other one we had? Google, of course, Google. I'm not going to forget Google. There was KLAC as well. Over that past 30 days, we did have the break. Let me just take this off for a second so you can see the channel. Just for a moment, we'll just remove this study. Boom, boom, and there you go. There's your study. Look at this up top here. See the consolidation? What are you guys seeing? Is there something like, who was it that said it previously? Dragon or Thea? No, it was Christian. Christian said cup and handle. Christian, anybody? You guys seeing a possible cup and handle here? Maybe on Google? I'll just draw it. I mean, it takes a little while. By the way, I think people go through a phase. I went through a phase that if you start to see cup and handles, before you know it, everything looks like a cup and handle, but it's not. Don't let your eyes fool you. Not everything is a cup and handle out there. But I went through that phase where I was seeing cup and handles everywhere, but they really, in this sense, they really weren't there. And so that's why I wanted to break it down. You got the saucer, you got the bull flag, you got the the sideways channel, the bull flag, and the possibility of a Google bounce here. I don't know if I should rename this to the cup and handle. You're getting a lot of those in there. What was KLAC? It's also a semiconductor. Bare minimums. Look at that. You're still getting the higher high and higher low. Let me show it to you. Right there is your higher high. And right there is your higher low. Higher low, higher high. Only at that break right there. It only came there. So hopefully we found, this could be an approach to help you, if you're looking, as maybe an initial step to maybe try to spot some of these swing trades. Now, let's go ahead and set this guy loose. Everybody got the code, right? Inverse head and shoulder as well. Yeah, on that one, though, I did see the inverse head and shoulder. At the bottom, it was. Yeah. Now, if you look at the bigger formation, that was on Google Alphabet right there. I get it. Yeah, sometimes, however you decide to look at the bottom, that cup is kind of it's a weird looking cup, but I got you. Shoulder, head, shoulder, breakout, but big picture, possibly. Let me do this. This is kind of a way to look at this too, where it could sort of moderate those daily spikes a little bit. Go to a 3-year weekly. Yeah, a little bit more of the possibility of a cup and handle, but I'm with you. It's not as clear as the other ones, but you are breaking those highs, and there is a bit of a retracement down here with the bull flag pattern. So yeah, there are some variations, but like I said, it could be a starting point. Okay. The high handle. By the way, do you guys like that higher handle? I do, because I think it breaks that resistance level as you're looking over here. That 30-day is a longer kind of a time frame for the price channel with a length of 30. So, you're going to get the possibility of these occurring. We've already gotten like 3 or 4 similar ones, but I've seen cup and handles that do something like this. They might round over here, not perfectly, but they'll kind of do one of these. And they're okay, but they might not have the momentum or the power of one that's confirmed to break above a significant, because I'm going to jump back and say that the longer term highs, which is what this is, could be more significant because it's taking in a longer term range. It could represent a whole different kind of a level for, let's say, the fundamentals of a stock in terms of what Google, where Alphabet might be heading, the value of Alphabet going forward. We don't know, And then you could look at other indications too that we've done in this class, like money flow, etc. Let's go over here to our watch list, and I'm going to go ahead and let's just times this number by 5. Let's look at the S&P 500 and just see what we get over here. Going to take some time. And by the way, you have to be using the live platform to make this work. And by the way, one other quick note, I chatted with tech support today, just so you guys know, about these columns. It's still loading. It's going to take a second. I'm going to click over here and hit customize. But if I click on customize over here, you'll notice that as you guys have gone through this before, I don't have anymore to say customize. I've got to like copy them and I've got to paste them like in a like a Word document, for example, my code, and then reuse them because I've only got honestly like 20. You only get 20 to use. Anybody gets 20 is what the guy from tech told me. And he said that he would pass that along though to try to get us more customs. And I explained the whole details as to why that would be important. They're still limiting the number that you can get. Like, so for example, if I have like 5 of these columns across the 500, it will just say you've exceeded your limit. Now, I'm not going to see my limit here. You'll notice I've got zeros all the way down saying that it was false. And these are the ones that meet the criteria, 4-day pullback 3, all the way down to 2 here. But we could run into issues. And so it's naturally limiting anyway. So might as well just give us more columns so that we don't have to store it on a Word doc. That's what I told him. And so I'm thinking we could push it through, perhaps. All right. Okay, now snow is not on this list, Snowflake, but others are. In fact, we looked at DRI and we looked at ANET as well. Here's DRI. Okay, we looked at that. Here's ANET. That's kind of a 2, sort of a longer term kind of cup and handle. Clearly the trend is up. This is not really, trying to hit those cup and handles, but it's trying to look for the possibility of a bullish swing with that trend. Here's ANET. Okay, what do we have here with ANET? Did it qualify for what we're after? It did. It hit that. There's definitely a break above a 30-day high over here, a 30-day prior high. And have we pulled back 1, 2, 3 bars? What do we see over here? 3-bar pullback right there. Okay. And like we said, with this trading time frame, folks, 3 to maybe 10 days for swing trades, because we're just kind of defining a move that we're looking to take. Just this, or just this, or just, this was what? This is more than 10 days. I'm not saying you can't go more than 10. You could still be an intermediate term, even a longer term trader if this is kind of an entry point you're seeking out. But generally, like this one here, took out the high, you came back down here, and you rallied up. So you're more looking at this run as opposed to the greater run on some of these swing trades. Case in point is that this is still a pullback over a time frame, and you're really looking at a 5-day pullback at most a lot of times, but we're still saying that it could have made a new high over the past 30-day new high over the past 30 days. And so you're getting a lot of that in your favor, but there you go. Okay. What else did we have? Let's look at a couple more. Folks, let's see. Oh, dang. We got to let it load back up again. All right. What I'll do, I will send, just so it might be tricky to capture all this, but I believe I'll double check on it, but I think I could just send a tweet out with maybe the 10 of these or whatever the case is, or all of them. I could send out all of them. I guess I could fit them all into a tweet. It shouldn't be an issue. So I can just reference that we talked about it and you'll have that there. Okay, but I'm going to look at some of these others, like Ralph Lauren is in there. Ralph Lauren, Boeing. Ralph Lauren, Boeing. What else do we have? It kind of gives you a sense of what could be moving. We already looked at AVGL. Let's look at those two. So here is Boeing. So I was thinking Boeing was kind of bottoming for a long time. This is interesting because it should fit exactly what we're looking at. Do you see it? Breaking a high, certainly breaking this high, a pretty big upward move. Now, could we flag over here? I don't know. Is that a cup and handle? It's a little bit lower. Maybe it's still got some more time to develop, but it does have a higher high, higher low. There's your pullback. Ralph Lauren, huh? Oh, yeah. Just a couple day pullback from the high. 1, 2, but look at some of these moves off of this run over here. Some have pulled back further. Some have been really kind of strong within this pullback range right here. All right. Let's see. Oh, let me go ahead and throw that script in. Oh, let's see. Thank you, Brent. Awesome. He's already on it. Really appreciate it, folks. But that was the script. Did I miss any questions, Brent, or anything that I need to highlight? Because I think we did get through everything that we were after to get through thus far. So I just wanted to state, because I'll send this out as just a tweet here, so you guys have that. I should be fine doing that. But yeah, so what do you guys think? Let me know what you think in the chat. Anything you're considering, any sort of additions to it, or things you'd like to see. If you did like today's presentation, just smash that like button. It does really go a long way. I'd appreciate it if you're able to do that. It just lets us know that you like the kind of content that we're providing. And definitely, bottom right-hand corner of the screen, there's a subscribe button. Just so easy to do. Just click on that, and we're good to go. I didn't see any other surveys or anything else in the chat there, but I think, unless I missed anything, we might be doing okay here. In terms, which script is the last one? Okay, so this one we just looked at here is the bullish swing script is how I've titled that. Let me look at one other thing here while I've got you guys, and I'll just pull this up. I went into more details too. If you want to expand this, that is, and if you want to, if it's of interest to you, you can take a look at it. You can go in over here. In fact, I'll just throw this out real quick. You can track. Brent's got some awesome classes. He teaches a class on Tuesday. Brent, correct me if I'm wrong with long options. I do know he teaches other advanced classes throughout the week as well in terms of advanced options. So encourage you to take a look at his class. I want to do this and just kind of highlight here too. There's this playlist. Well, I'll just show it to you. It's a new class that we have. If in fact you are interested, I referenced it a few times. I'm just going to go ahead and type in swing over here, and it should be, there's only one in the playlist. Okay, I can't see it. There it is, right up top. Normally it's at the bottom. I'm just going to throw this in here. I did go into more detail. I'll throw it in the chat if you want. I kind of went through some details, the way that some traders will look at defining the swing trade. It's there if you want to check it out. And let's see, I think we're all good right now. So everybody, hey, want to wish you a fantastic weekend coming up. It was great to be with you. Thank you, Brent, as always, for your help. I'll look forward to future discussions in future sessions. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.